So I've been watching Basketball Flies for, I think, all their seasons. And we've seen new cast members come on. We've seen cast members leave, not return. Um, and this season, I believe it came back and it's just a strong reach because they have nothing to talk about because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19. So they are taking, this is, I believe it's episode number 3 now, with the same consistent, episode number 6. And it is the same consistency of problems, issues, and concerns around the same exact person. Hear me out. Don't come for me yet. Okay. So in the beginning, the season opened off with like how everybody's adjusting to the pandemic, what's really happening, what's going on, how we're going to deal with it. Then we see some people lost their family members. COVID-19, the pandemic has taken so much from everybody, and I pray daily for those who are still going through it, who went through it, who are still having the aftershocks from losing loved ones, not being able to say goodbye, and just going through the emotions. And I feel like a lot of people through the pandemic and on the show have shown their real side of, oh my gosh, this shit is real and it's not even a game. Now, I got that out the way. I was nice in the beginning. Now moving on to the real shit. So, after episode about 2 or 3, they started with this OG thing calling everybody, because last season over the summer or whatever, OG started that blog about the Basketball Wives franchise. Is there's colorism, there's racism, and she didn't like it because she's a darker skinned one of the group, which she is. And okay, fine, who cares? Her and Kristen maybe are a little bit, on the darker side, and the rest of them, Evelyn, Shawnee, Malaysia, are fairer skin or put on that much foundation. So I'm going to give a definition of both colorism and racism, just so we can be clear on what each definition is. So, hold on. Racism definition, because I want to be politically correct and go from there. So I'm going to start with, OG said there's a colorism issue amongst the group and there's a racism issue amongst the group. And then she said, we are all colorist and we are all racist. That was her statement. She keeps trying to backpedal and pussy pop. That's not what you said, but the camera and the videos will replay during the reunion, I'm sure. Colorism, prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, especially among people of the same ethnic or racial group. That's colorism. Racism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people of the on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Okay. So, OG complained that Evelyn, Shawnee, and all the girls were saying, mean things about her, derogatory things about her, how Evelyn called her Toji. And it was like, she called you that because of your toe hanging out your peep toe. We know as women, if there's some men listening, you may not know this, if you lotion grease your feet and you have on a heel that has a peep toe, or your feet are sweating, your foot will slide to the front of that peep toe shoe and hang off. So they were finding something to talk about. When you get into an argument with somebody, depending on who you argue with, there's no holds barred. Everything is on the table. Anybody can get it. I'm including myself in that. I have no filter. I should, but I'm not grown up yet. So I will go for it all to shut you down. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay, but that's how I operate. And that's how a lot of people operate in the moment. Especially when Evelyn and OG had that whole blow up last season. So OG is saying that they're still picking on her and they're treating her bad because of her skin color. And I'm like, they did the same thing to Tammy, kind of like, but Tammy shut them down and punched them and popped them in their face, and they stopped, fucking with her like that. And then they were cool with her, and then Tammy said, let me exit before I get locked up. So OG is saying that no one gets it, and she's trying to, be to herself and not really deal with these girls. No one gets what she's saying. And they bring on these new sisters, Nia, and I forget the other girl's name. And they're confused because they saw what happened on TV, but they don't know physically or mentally what happened in this space because they weren't in the space. OG, I understand your frustration. I hear what you're saying. We all hear what you're saying. We understand what you're saying. But at the same time, if they're genuinely trying to come to you and apologize or understand your stance or understand where you're coming from, understand your platform, let that guard down just a little bit to hear what they have to say, to understand what they have to say. And then you take the next step and say, I'm going to forgive you, or I'm going to accept your apology. And if it circles back and happens again, then you know where you need to stand going forward. But you're giving attitude, you're giving bitch, you're giving face, you're giving, fuck y'all, I don't care. Then why the fuck are you on the show? If you were that hell-bent on getting your point across, you would say what you said, do what you do, and then be where you're going to be and not be on the show anymore because you're not open to hearing anything. What do you want them to say that will make you feel better or have a better mode of operation? What is the end game in you being nasty and condescending and not letting anyone else have an opinion? You can't get your point across without them having an opinion back about you or what you have said in the past, because good old VH1 has gone to the lengths of circling back and seeing what she said about them, they said about her. So it has gone both ways, even though she agreed that they all did the same exact thing. And she goes, well, we're all colorists, we're all racist because growing up, you know, your parents would say, get your black ass over here or whatever. I'm like, and in my mind, like, oh yeah, that is that. But you heard it growing up in most households, so it wasn't a big thing. It's similar to the word nigga. White people cannot say that word, but black people say that all day long. Nigga, please. Nigga what? Nigga who? Jigga what? Jigga who? But come on. We all say the same things in different terms. Is it right? No. Is it wrong? No. It's what you feel like doing in that moment. So, now OG's thing is, I'm not dealing with the girls. I'm going to just cross my legs and wear sunglasses and cry randomly, until y'all bow down to me and say, oh, OG, yes. Oh, like, I'm just trying to figure out, what do you want from them? Kristen came over twice. Malaysia came over twice. Evelyn is showing you, and not going over there because you have the biggest beef with them. I feel like in these situations, you have to talk to each person individually to get your point across. And you are not going to do it by doing what you're doing right now. So now we go over to these sisters that she's calling them stalkers. OG has posted today, and I'll post the link below. And she has receipts. She has text messages to production. She has receipts on how these girls got on the show. She's saying that they got on the show by Jackie. Jackie's saying they got on through her. They're saying that's not how this all went down, but whatever. And production is leaving everybody looking crazy because how they chop and screw all these missing pieces and parts and make it out to be some kind of melee. But this is production's way of getting a good show and getting ratings. When they chop and screw scenes and segments just so you can see, bitch, please. And then you see like Tammy's face pop in. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Some beef about to happen. Let me tune in. Let me watch. And that's what they do. So I would like everybody to just take a minute and look at OG's post that I'm going to link below. And let me know what y'all think. What do you think should happen in a situation of all the cast of black women from different shades, from fair to dark? What should OG do? What should she expect? I have experienced the same exact thing when I was in middle school, elementary school, because I was always darker skinned than most people. And it was always, oh, blackie this, blackie that. And it's just like, okay, it's kids being bullies and teasing. But as an adult, I don't hear that or haven't heard that. So I don't know how to react or how to make her feel better or how could she B, what is she looking for? Help me understand, what do you think would make her feel better? So that is all I got, and got no more. Like, subscribe, comment below.